WQEE 99.1 FM The Key, home of Southern sports and talk. Newman, Sharpsburg, Franklin.
In the market for either buying or selling your home, City First Mortgage Service, LLC is the first place for all your needs. Branch Manager John P. Lewis and his staff can serve you with a smile and professional courtesy. Serving Georgia, Alabama, Florida, 770-598-0860. John P. Lewis, City First Mortgage Service, LLC. We place you first.
Are you looking for guidance and direction? Stop on by the House of Light Tuesdays from 12 to 3 and have tea and tarot with Christy. The House of Light is located at 29 Jackson Street in Newnan, Georgia. Call 470-414-6711 for more information.
The House of Light brings clarity to your soul, offering a safe space for healing through our compassionate practitioners, services, classes, and wisdom, plus the tools to support you in our retail space.
When you hear music, do the lyrics speak to you on a deeper level? I'm Bruce Thornton. Join me and Donna Wood every Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. on WQEE 99.1 FM The Key for our show Lyrical Wisdom. Every week we will dive into the lyrics of songs and uncover hidden messages that we hope will leave you feeling inspired and enlightened. We know that our ideas may not always line up with yours, so this show will be an open discussion. Email us with ideas for songs at lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. Let's share some wisdom together.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's now time for the House of Light presents The Wisdom Cafe, each and every week at this time on 99.1 FM WQEE. Here's this week's special.
Good morning. Welcome to the House of Light presents Wisdom Cafe. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful this morning. A little tired, but feeling great.
Well, that's because it's going to be raining outside. We need to, it's that time.
Yeah, that's true. You know, fall is finally in the air.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it feels so good. It really, really does. It's like a breath of fresh air.
It's time for Halloween candy.
Well, yes. Only I've given up sugar, so I will not be eating any candy.
Come on, it's the one time of year.
I know. Well, not really. What about cake on birthdays? And we were just talking about pumpkin pie. Yeah. And my daughter, she just got married, and I wanted to taste the cake, but I did not.
What?
I know. It's my body feels so good without that white substance.
It was just a little piece.
I have some left in the refrigerator, and every time I look at it, I'm like, I really should try a bite of the cake.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And I can have a bite.
Just a bite. And then then go get you a strawberry. That'll cancel it out.
That's true. So I am so excited this morning for our special guest. Many people, we're talking about astrology this morning. A lot of people know their sun sign. Some people know their rising sign. Some people know their moon. But a lot of people don't really understand the planets and the energy that they can envelop us with. You know what I mean?
I know.
Although some people, there's been a lot of talk about this Mercury retrograde. What is that? Well, every single planet has its own energy. Like Venus. When you think of Venus, what do you think of, Ryan?
I think of the lady. I think
of love.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, Venus, love. Mercury is communication. That's why when Mercury goes into retrograde, phones kind of mess up, emails get lost, everything having to do with communication. And then we've got Saturn. Saturn is like our papa, our daddy. He's the, the disciplinarian.
Right.
Rules, regulations, things of that nature. I believe. I know Jade will correct me if I make a mistake here. Neptune. I love Neptune. Neptune is that I call it the spiritual planet. It allows us to dream, to daydream, and to get in touch with that esoteric, etherical side of us. But today we're going to talk about another planet because a lot of people who follow astrology may know or even, look at their charts or whatever. There's something called a Saturn return. Have you heard of that?
I never have.
Well, there's like, Jade, help me, is it every 7 years? It's a lot of years. I'm sorry, because there's only like 3.
Yeah, I think your first Saturn return happens in your 30s.
30s. Okay, I was thinking 27.
Yeah.
So Saturn, it comes back around into your chart, and you call it your Saturn return because it offers you an opportunity to see how far you've come in your life, what growth you've had and everything. But today we're going to talk about another planet because it's been really, really sending us a lot of energetic vibes. And that planet's name is Pluto. Pluto, and we're not talking about the Disney dog, okay? Because that Disney, well, I don't know. Maybe some of Pluto's characteristics do come through that planet. I'm not sure. We might get there. Who knows? I would like to introduce Jade. She has come to the House of Light. She is very, very knowledgeable in astrology and how it relates in the body psychologically to us. She has studied psychology and she understands people, their personalities, and what makes them behave certain ways. Well, you take that aspect and you pull in your astrological aspects of the planets and their energies, and she has really, really found a beautiful way to marry those two to be able to give you more in-depth information about who you are and why you do certain things and why you act this way or that way, at certain times. So Jade does, you can reach out online too. I'll let her give you all that information of how to get in contact with her so you can sign up for a astrology reading with her. But this Saturday, tomorrow, she is doing a wonderful class at the House of Light called The End of an Era. Pluto in Aquarius. So I'd like to introduce Jade.
Thank you for the introduction, Donna. That was lovely. And your explanations were all wonderful. I'm glad that you've been listening and learning and retaining the information. Tomorrow, I believe it's 2 to 4, is the Pluto class. Now, most of you may only remember Pluto from being in elementary school and them telling you that it's no longer a planet, and the generational heartbreak and anguish that we felt over mourning Pluto's planet status being taken away from us. But clearly they only tried to do that because they were afraid of the repercussions that Pluto brings us as a whole planet and as a whole generation. And taking away its planet status did not take away the energy of control that it has over our lives. Pluto changes from sign to sign every 248 years.
Wow. 248 years.
It returns back to the sign that it was in. And it's called a generational planet because as it cycles through the 12 signs, it takes like 20 to even 40 years for it to switch to another sign. And then the 248 years for it to go back into that sign that it was in full circle. Now, Pluto coming back into Aquarius, this is the first time that we've seen, or that any of us have ever been alive during Pluto in Aquarius. And the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during the American Revolution, during the French Revolution, at any historical revolution, actually. If you go back to even prior to that, when it was in Aquarius in 1513, it was when they started the European churches, and they had a revolution of the religion of Europe and such. So it changes technologically. There's a lot of advancements when they invented different things for farming, when they invented different, like the internet, the computer, AI right now. And then it has a lot to do with our social progression in the sense of revolution, in the sense of independence, in the sense of fighting to start a new country or a new society or a new system. Every single time Aquarius shows up in Pluto, whatever, say, society system that was in place prior is destroyed and rebuilt upon.
Now I can't get the fifth dimension out of my head. Y'all know what's coming, right?
Oh, yes.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So is that really where we're at right now? Or is that what is happening is what the fifth dimension was telling us about Aquarius is not what Pluto offers. Pluto in Aquarius changes that Aquarius energy. Is that correct?
So Pluto is, so to say, the dark side of whatever sign it's in. It's like the dark side of the moon.
I was going to say, now we got Pink Floyd.
Yes, exactly. Wherever Pluto falls in our charts is where we transform the most. And this is where we find that whatever we have for that, we can never really hold on to. It's consistently changing. And it falls in different placements in the sky, which will be different houses for us, and it'll fall in different signs. So for Pluto right now, since the 2008, since the economic recession and the housing crash and the market crash, we've been in Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn's idealistic qualities is perfectionism, hard work, your work defines you, you know. Historically, there's been different ways in which we can translate this into our world, but currently, an easy way to observe that is a capitalistic CEO of a business. You know, the boss man or woman who wears the suit, who has the heels that make all that loud noise when they go down the hallway, so you know that they're there and they mean business.
And you can hear them when they're coming, and you straighten
like,
your desk real quick.
You know, you're like, I don't have time to talk. I'm making $100 a minute, and I'm wasting it on you, you know? And Capricorn is very involved in that energy of they have to bring something to the table to be worth anything. They have to have a household. They have to have a job. They have to make money. They have to work hard for the greater public society. It's like a bunch of ants working for the queen. With Pluto moving into Capricorn in 2008, 2009, it showed us that that's not sustainable. We can't be so toxically independent that we're trying so hard to fully support ourselves individually, especially right now when all of the inflation of the prices of things did not co-align with the prices that were being paid for work. And as those prices keep getting further and further apart, like the cost of rent or the cost of groceries versus how much an average household income even is, the Capricorn ideal is even less and less sustainable, because the Capricorn ideal is the American dream. And people can't have the white picket fence and the 3-story house and the dogs and the cats and the kids and the wife and run off of just his salary. Capricorn, coming home and taking care of everybody.
The woman has to become Capricorn too, and it has to be a 2-income household in order to live the American dream.
And even that doesn't sustain, you know?
No, because I think 2008 is when the bubble burst in real estate, and things started
housing crash, market crash, everything economically. Okay. And so that affected the ideals of Capricorn, and it showed us the dark side of this workaholic perfectionism mentality. It showed us that we will burn ourselves out, we'll drain ourselves, we'll work ourselves to disability, to illness. A lot of people don't get sick days off of their work, especially before COVID. I know I had a job where I was throwing up all night, and I didn't sleep, and they still made me come into work, and I threw up at work, and they told me I had to be there. And that was right before COVID happened. And I was like, I wonder how they handled COVID, because that can't be safe. That can't be healthy for their customers, for the coworkers of the business, you know? And so we've been dealing with this for this whole past generation, since 2008, this whole time period. We've been really muddled in this dark side of this capitalistic workforce. And it's fighting right now with Aquarius and Pluto, back and forth this year. It's in retrograde right now in Capricorn, which means Pluto's going backwards into Capricorn, and so it's doing this back and forth motion.
I did hear that it kind of bounced in Aquarius for a little bit, and
in June,
and the energy did change. It was like woohoo, and then it was like
it
came
right
back into Capricorn.
So as it's doing this push and pull this year, we're feeling these energies shift and polarize how we feel and how we perceive things. And then in January, it will fully go into Aquarius until 2044.
2044. Okay, so what should we expect from this?
So Aquarius, like we said, if we know the traits of the sign, we can know what Pluto will bring out of the sign. Aquarius is kind of like the mad scientist of the signs. It's the 11th sign. So while it's not quite in the afterlife at the very end of the cycle, it's kind of like an old person on their deathbed looking back over their life. And they're like, I don't really want to put up with any more shit. You ever talk to an Aquarius, they're like, I don't want to deal with your bull. I don't want to deal with it. I'm too tired for all this drama. I'm too tired. Because it's like they've lived this whole life already. They've been through all of this already. They already learned the lesson the hard way. And they don't have any energy to waste on all of these social stigmas and all of these other things. They tend to be very blunt, very honest, very monotone when they speak. They tend to be very educated about the things that they're doing. But it's a very intense revolution, independence. A lot of Aquariuses were the forefront of protests, especially like the hippie movement protests and taking care of the world, you know, with global warming and other things like that. A lot of Aquariuses are very passionate about environmentalism, very passionate about the current society system and structure. So that focus on changing this individualism from working yourself to the bone for somebody else to working yourself for like this vast benefit of your community and for your own inner self. But the part where Aquariuses may fall short is that because of this is so internal versus the external perfectionism of Capricorn, Aquarius may not see where they fit in society at all. They might not find a place for them in the hierarchy. And instead of thinking, oh, I need to be at the top of the hierarchy, I need to be a doctor, I need to be a lawyer, I need to make money, they don't care about the money, they care about the effect they have on the people around them. So you find that Aquariuses tend to be more isolated because they're more cautious about how they affect the people around them. They're more cautious about what they have to say. They're less likely to ask for help or be obviously visually in distress because they want you to think that they have everything under control. And then everything that they're doing, they do more in the shadows than in the limelight.
So for me, it sounds like a good thing in that the energy is going to be more focused on community and what you hear a lot of times, the greater good. In other words, what can I do to affect the greater good? And the energy of Pluto is going to bring about that to everybody. In other words, the world as a whole is going to have that mentality of, let's do this for the greater good.
Right. Yes.
So, but then the dark side of that, because Pluto can bring out the dark side of this,
Because we
would
find,
be,
even though Capricorn thinks it's doing things for the greater good as well, and we find a lot of these statements like, just do it, and welcome to the real world, and you gotta try harder, and you gotta work harder, and that's all Capricorn's mentality. That's their motivation that they tell them, their mantra that they tell themselves, right? But as we move into Aquarius, we find that just do it is not a clear direction.
Yeah, do what?
How do you do the step?
How do you just do it?
And we're finding that it's very, very difficult to move forward when you don't know where you're going, where you don't know where you're coming from. It's a lot harder to get from redacted to B and not know how far you are from B or how to get to B or anything if you don't know what A is in the first place, you know?
Okay.
So with Aquarius, a lot of what we're going to have to learn is to slow down inside of ourselves and have an internal revolution. Because this is a very big bite to chew off. To think, oh, we're just going to revolutionize everything that we've ever known for the past 40 years, you know? And everything that America was built upon 248 years ago, we're going to have to redo again. Like, that is a big bite to take off.
I kind of feel that happening already, though,
right.
You know?
and that starts with the individual. It starts with everybody individually in the society, in the systems, changing so that the ultimatum system is different. I'm finding a lot of places are changing how they operate. Like, I'm finding a lot of shops and clothing stores. I hear that they do ones where you can go in and rent the clothes, like it's a personal closet, and you pay like a monthly fee, and every day you could come in and pick whatever outfit you want to wear for the day, and then you bring it back to the clothing shop so that it's less materials being made and less things being sold, and everybody has access to clothes, and people are doing this with food. So they're running these systems and these storefronts in different ways, and without the need for the current economical money to finance it.
So I have heard of that, or thought that what back in the day was called the bartering system will become more prevalent in our lives.
A lot more people are doing that nowadays as well.
Yeah.
And then when you slow down and you internally focus on yourself, like Aquarius is, especially in Pluto, will show you. Aquarius tends to be very alienated, and they may feel like an alien in comparison to everybody else because they see things in a very unique, innovative way. And if you find that within yourself, you may feel like very outside of this system. You may feel like you don't fit into this hierarchy, like you don't have a job that you can do for the way that things currently operate. And you may have had a lot of past spiritual lessons, generational traumas, things that you've ingrained within yourself over time that create you to behave a certain way and impact you to behave a certain way. And Aquarius has a lot of influence from this kind of subconscious spiritual realm because it's also influenced a lot by things like AI, things like technology. And so as we move into the more dark side of this energy, we find that if we don't know who we are for ourselves, instead of who we are for our society or who we are in the sense of everybody else's viewpoint, we're going to lose ourselves in Aquarius and Pluto. You got to find who you are for yourself in the world without an idea of how the world is currently structured, how people have made the world to be. And then on top of that, we find that it could go really either way with the advancements in technology and in the way that the system and society is starting to heavily rely on that now. Historically, in Pluto and Aquarius, we see they make technologies to do things that are harder labor, like to help with farm work. But we're finding lately they're making a lot of AI to do things that are more human things, like to paint or make scripts or be creative instead of doing the physical labor work, which I think shows us a lot of more of the dark or concerning side to this technological advancement.
Right, because we can become too dependent on AI and lose ourselves.
And it takes away the humanity in the art.
Yes.
To have the robot do the art instead of to have the robot do the manual labor.
Mm-hmm. My daughter went to eat at a restaurant the other night here in Newman. Everybody, in Newnan, Georgia, we now have a restaurant open that does have a robot that serves you.
Oh.
there's still a server, but the robot comes out with all the plates of food on it. And then, the server just simply takes the plate and places it to the person, and then the robot speaks something, and then that was quite interesting. Well, if you guys want to know more about the end of an era, Pluto and Aquarius, please come to the House of Light tomorrow at 2 p.m. or message us. You can either call us at 470-414-6711 or send us an email at houseoflightga@gmail.com. And we most certainly will, I'm sure, be presenting this either online, live on Facebook, or we can certainly record it and send those of you who wish to acquire this beautiful information. We can make sure you receive it in a recording.
I do have more information on this on my website as well.
Which is?
It's jadenicole.com, JAYDENICHOL.com.
Repeat that one more time.
JAYDENICHOL.com.
Awesome. So go to jadenicole.com or the House of Light and discover more about this end of an era. Thank you all so much for joining us here at Wisdom Cafe. Thank you, Jade, so much. You are so knowledgeable, and I'm so honored to have you on the show this morning. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
When you hear music, do the lyrics speak to you on a deeper level? I'm Bruce Thornton. Join me and Donna Wood every Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. on WQEE 99.1 FM The Key for our show Lyrical Wisdom. Every week we will dive into the lyrics of songs and uncover hidden messages that we hope will leave you feeling inspired and enlightened. We know that our ideas may not always line up with yours, so this show will be an open discussion. Email us with ideas for songs at lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. Let's share some wisdom together.